everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studio where anything can happen, and today is Stampin' Up Sunday and we are showcasing two stamp sets today. One is one that is available, which is our Gnome For the Holidays. Get him down here where you can see him. And we are going to use this little guy right here. And where did I put my catalog? There it is. I'm using a stamp set that I have, but we are going to feature the Snowflake Splendor Designer Series paper, and you could use either Snowflake Wishes, which is from our catalog, our holiday catalog, or Snow Wonder. I am using Snowman from last year's catalog, which is actually Beautiful Blizzard, and I'm using the stamp set. The stamps, snowflakes are unique in their own beautiful way, and you are extraordinary, and that is what we're using today. But just wanted you to know, I have snowflake stamp sets. I don't need a new stamp set, so I'd rather spend money on the consumables like this beautiful Snowflake paper that we're going to use. Now this was Snowflake Splendor was one of the papers that one of the gals commented when I did the unboxing, that this was one of the sets she wanted to see. And one of the things I want to stress today with this card that we're going to make is that don't be afraid to stamp directly on designer series paper. It really turns out quite lovely. Here's the card we're going to make today. We're going to use the Balmy Blue glitter paper that is in the fall catalog, Christmas catalog. We're going to use Gnome For the Holidays, and the Snowflake Splendor paper, and then I am using the stamp set from Beautiful Blizzard from last year. We are going to start with, my desk is an absolute disaster, so excuse me while I shift and stumble through here. We're going to start with Balmy Blue Cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and on the 11-inch side, we're going to trim it to 5.5. Lay one aside, turn this one this way, and score at the 4 1/4. And that gives us our card base, and you get two card bases from one 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And then I had a bone folder here somewhere, and it's vanished in the collection of disaster. I'm trying to get 4 videos filmed today so that Bob and I can go do something for our anniversary. We've been married 36 years today. Okay, so there's our base. Now remember I said I didn't want you to be afraid to stamp on your designer series paper. So we're going to make it look like our gnome is standing in a blizzard. So we need to make sure that we can stamp him in an area of the paper where we can really see him well. So we want to go for the lighter corners like this one here or down here, because he's going to be down in this bottom right corner. So we're going to cut this with positioning him down in this corner. We need to make sure that it is 5 1/4 inches tall, because by cutting it 1/4 inch smaller than our base, it gives us our border. And then I want him down in this corner, so I want to cut this part off, and we're going to cut him at 4 inches. Okay, got that? While I've got the cutter here, I'm going to go ahead and cut my piece of glimmer paper and my white cardstock. Our glimmer paper is 3 inches by an 1.5 inches. I had initially cut this at 2, and it was too wide to use in the punch that we're going to use. And then we need our sentiment mat cut from white cardstock at 1 3/4 by 1.5. There's our 1.5. Boy, that does not look right, does it? But it is. It just looks smaller without the sentiment stamped on it. So 1.5 by 1 3/4 for our sentiment. And then we move this out of the way. Okay. So I'm using Night of Navy for all of the stamping. And so I'm going to ink this up, the sentiment stamp, with Night of Navy. And making sure that I get it right side up. And I'm going to pull this down to me so I'm out of the shadow and I can see where I'm going. Now you could stamp this first and then cut around it, but there's our sentiment. And while we have that out, I want to let that sit for a minute. I have somewhere, thought I took one out, maybe not. I have one of my card liners that I use. Remember, I use 32-pound paper cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I have the sentiment, and you are extraordinary. And we're going to stamp it on the inside of our card and our liner. And I'll set that aside and let it dry for just a second. This is dry enough now. I can go around and I can ink the edges. Now, if you're not using a spot, if you're using a full-size pad, you also could use, let me see if I can find the right one. Night of Navy, you can use one of our finger daubers and dab your full-size ink pad and just go around the edge that way too. And you actually get more of a shadow that way than a line. So you can do that either way. And what did I do with the glitter paper? There it is. We are using our banner triple punch. And we're just going to slide that in there. Fits perfectly. Punch. And then we have our automatic dovetail there. Okay. Now we can stamp our little gnome. He is also done. I should have put a non-stick grid underneath this board because this board is warped and it wants to spin like a cake pedestal. I'm just going to stamp our gnome, and remember we want him down in this lighter corner so it looks like he's standing in a blizzard sending his holiday wishes. And see, he really does show up quite nicely if you remember to put it in a lighter area of your designer series paper. Now I'm using my liquid mono here. It's really been a rough week. This is Tuesday when I'm recording these videos, and it's really been a rough week. Bob took the weekend and went to Oklahoma to visit his baby brother. And while he was in Oklahoma, Saturday night, I had to call the vet out and had to put my lab mix down. She had, from what Dr. Mike and I can determine, she had a brain aneurysm. It just hit her all at once. And so he had to come out and put her down. I'm looking for my dimensionals that I just had here. And of course, they're not in the pack with the rest of the dimensionals. That would be too easy. We're going to fake it for now and use these 3 large ones. But they should have been laying right here. Oh well, as I said, things are in a mess. And so, I also had a cat that was 13, and she has not been doing well for a very long time. And I had already made the decision I was going to take her in this week and have her put to sleep, send her over the Rainbow Bridge. So while Dr. Mike was here, he took care of both of my animals at the same time. Dr. Mike Orchard from Barn Hollow is an absolutely fabulous vet. The man, I can't say enough nice things about him. He's just super. So, yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough weekend, and so when I should have been creating and getting these videos ready to go, I gave my existing kitties a lap time, and my dog. We still have Honeybee, our Beagle mix. He's part Beagle, part Springer Spaniel, and part Basset Hound. There's a mix for you. He'll be 6 years old in August. He was 6 years old this month, and he thinks he's a lap dog. All 34 pounds of him. So, and there's our card for Stampin' Up Sunday. It's just that simple. And then we've got our sentiment mat. We'd stamped it. Cards do not have to be extensively decorated to send someone some cheer. And if you want to do a bunch of Christmas cards en masse, go simple. go with one unique piece. And there's our card. We have snowflakes are unique in their own beautiful way, and you are extraordinary. And we have stamped on designer series paper, and isn't he just the cutest little guy? Now, if you wanted to add some color to him, give him a little, maybe more of a little bit of a gray beard by coloring him in a little bit with smoky slate Stampin' Blends, that would work. Maybe put a little bit of gold on the bell, that would also work and bring out a little bit more dimension. But from that same sheet of paper, we got 2 cards. Absolutely lovely. I'm not sure what I'm doing for next Stampin' Up! Sunday. Bob leaves to go back to work on Tuesday. We have company all this week. They leave tomorrow, my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law. He went to Oklahoma to visit them for a week. Now they're coming here for 4 days to visit us. And she's also my downline in a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So we usually have a good time when she's here. We don't get to see each other often enough. We're really good friends. So it's going to be a busy weekend. It has been a busy weekend by the time you see this, I'm sure. So short video this week. If you have any questions about what I've shown today, please leave a question in the comments. I will leave the items that I use as well as the measurements for this card down in the description box below. Thanks for joining me today for Stampin' Up! Sunday. Remember to like this video if you want to see more cards and stuff using Stampin' Up! Subscribe to my channel. We're still pushing for 500 subscribers by the end of September. And remember, when you click that bell, to make sure you click all notifications so that you don't miss anything that gets uploaded to my channel. Thanks for joining me today. Creative blessings.